Here we go again. Hey everybody, here we are again. This is Your Two Dads. It's me, it's Dan, and it's another interview, another one of our fatherly series of interviews. I don't really have a cool name for that yet. Maybe I'll come up with something that strikes a chord with listeners all across the nation. But until then, it's just a series of interviews we do with dads from all around the world. And right now we got another awesome dad from Washington State. His name is Philip Parker, and he's the owner and producer of the Unscripted Perspective. What's going on, man? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? This is a new dynamic for me. Normally I'm running the show, so I'm up for anything, my friend.
Right on. Yeah, you were mentioning how you've been interviewing all week.
Yeah. Three dads in a room is always it's like lighting a grenade or a stick of dynamite or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if we don't start throwing dad jokes at each other like grenades.
Oh man,
we start out. We get as I was mentioning earlier. I guess before we started, I don't even remember now. But we get all of our real and spicy questions from your introduction. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I saw on Facebook, at least I think I saw that you were originally from Ireland.
Yeah. I try and hide the accent quite a bit, but yes, I am Irish. Been living in the States for, kind of a broken 13, 14 years now. I was in Ireland quite recently, just got back about 7 months ago because of my parents, COVID and all that fun stuff. I had to go over and take care of them. But I'm Irish for my sins. I'm a former stand-up comic of 7 years. That's another term for a failed stand-up comic for those of us who are taking notes. I am a comedy writer now. I'm also writing a children's book. I have the Unscripted Perspective podcast, which keeps me pretty busy. And then I've just launched a new project called Rory Stories, which is a kids podcast inspired by my son, Rory, who's 4 years of age, who loves to hear stories going to bed. Basically, our belief is that every kid should or deserves to hear a story at bedtime or a story whenever they want. During COVID, my son at 4 years of age noticed that kids in his class were not getting read stories going to bed, and he wanted to change that. So at 4 years of age, we made our first podcast.
I did see that it was basically his idea to do this, and that he has, taken a pretty decent size, part of it on his shoulders. Recording a couple things.
He's the intro, the outro. He picked the little jingle in the beginning, and all the books that get read are vetted by him. So if they're liked, then they get on there. So there you go.
Nice.
Wow. I mean, okay. I don't know if all 4-year-olds are that smart, but really your son seems like extraordinarily intelligent for his age. My son is 2 or will be 2 in July. And I try to picture him at 4, and I just don't see him, having the mind frame to help me put together a podcast.
Right. He's very culturally diverse. He's traveled the world at 4 years of age. He's been to Florida, been to Ireland, England, Portugal. He's been on a cruise ship. I mean, Jesus, the guy's been to more places than I have at his age. So yeah.
Wow.
And trust me, the things he comes out with, you're okay.
Sure.
He knows how to use an iPad better than me. So there you go.
Well, yeah, that's the way it goes these days. They learn so fast. I'm told that we picked up like Nintendo and stuff just as quickly, but I don't see the comparison with.
Oh, he's got Xbox nowadays. Down. Yeah, I had to give him my old Xbox. That was the end of that conversation. Yeah, pretty much. I was going to trade it in, but he quickly vetoed that decision. So there you go.
Right on. Yeah, already playing Xbox at 4. That's I see my son, watching the Blippi on the phone and stuff, and I know it's just a matter of time before he moves on to our Nintendo,
Blippi's
whatever it is.
Dude.
I don't even we have a Nintendo. I don't even know what it's called. Is it the Wii, the DS? I don't know what
they're called these days. Probably the Switch.
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah, that's so generic. Like it doesn't click in my name.
Yeah, I mean, they just literally just go around the house picking. Let's see. Next one coming out is probably going to be candlestick, or it's just door
that's actually
handle.
Not bad. That, like, I can see that, like, because that makes me think of like Luigi's Mansion or something like that. So I mean, that definitely has
right,
a Nintendo connotation.
Right.
Okay. Well, I've kind of hogged a little bit of the conversation. I'm learning to share more of this with my co-host. So Dan, do you want to take it for a little bit? Did you have anything you wanted to get out of the way first?
Yeah, sure. How long did you live in Ireland before you moved?
Well, the first stint, I was actually, I grew up in Ireland, so my whole life, really, so I got here 2010 was when I first arrived in America. Yeah,
right on.
So yeah, it's been a very interesting ride. I've seen the US in its glory, and and now we're seeing the present state. But I love it here. America is where it's at. I mean, it's the land of opportunity. I don't know how many people have managed to travel outside the US. It's scary actually when I meet people that haven't even left their state. But for me, as much as America has its little flaws and there's things going on, Europe, the world just has so much more going on right now. I mean, the Ukraine war and everything is just decimating Europe to where cost of living is so high, it's impossible to really maintain. Governments are on their knees. So when everyone's kind of cribbing about the price of gas, I just remind everyone in Europe, it's like the equivalent of about $13 a gallon. So you guys just need to hush up a moment.
Yeah. My kind of, not to get too deep into it, my philosophy is, I kind of have a say because I vote, but that's even getting a little shaky now. But I can't change it by complaining to anybody. So I just have to, it is what it is. Yeah, it sucks, but that's life. Life kind of sucks. You find your high moments, but
right.
Life on the whole it is what you make of it, but you get up, you go to work, and it's
right.
It's just a grind, and you just kind of got to go with it. So
life give you lemons, you make lemonade. That's kind of how it is.
Pretty much
it. Yeah.
So, all right. So you said you've traveled back to Ireland a few times, right?
Yes, we actually got married in Ireland, and then too much details, but Rory was conceived over there, so there you go.
Nice.
Ireland is the core of our relationship, really. So. But yeah, no, and then obviously most recently just came back. So
right.
Ireland is a great place. It's an amazing country. I just feel that unfortunately, economically right now, it's just impossible for anyone to live there. But people are doing it. Like businesses are closing early because the electricity is too high. It's just it really is an eye opener of kind of how great we have it here when you see what's going on in different parts of the world.
Right. Okay. One last thing about that, and then I'll turn it back over. I've had a few family members and friends go to Ireland in the past, probably pre-COVID. I've never been. I'd love to go. I'm intrigued by it. I've seen pictures and videos and stuff of just the landscape. And I grew up kind of not like that, but I grew up in a smaller area than where I'm at now. If I were ever to get the chance to go, what is the one thing I need to do as a tourist in Ireland?
If you want to get the true heart of Ireland, I would say go on a pub crawl with some locals.
Right on.
I mean, for tourism, I mean, you can go and see castles, you can do all that. But if you really want to see the true spirit, if you're with depending on who you're with, if you're with your family, then that's a different kind of a holiday. But if you can do it, definitely go with the guys and go out for a pub crawl, and you will definitely 100% know what Ireland is like, because you make friends. I mean, the last night I was in Ireland, I had to say goodbye to my best friend. And we went out, and needless to say, we got very drunk, but the amount of fun that we had and the people that you met, I mean, I made 10 new friends just going out for drinks. We still keep in touch.
Wow.
We're WhatsApp, all that kind of stuff. I met more Americans in that bar than I did Irish people, but it's just the way of the culture over there. You know, you meet so many foreigners, but it's just a great atmosphere. It's all about the atmosphere. Everybody says it. It's the people that you go and see. It's the country is just the backdrop to it, and the history is the backdrop, but the people are what make it as good as it is.
Right on. Yeah, everybody that I know that's gone has told me to go to the Guinness factory.
Yes.
That was my assumption, but you know,
it's the same kind of thing. It's based around alcohol. So
yeah, pretty much.
Right.
My only problem with a pub crawl is that I don't have any friends that would go, and I don't have any friends there. So
well, it's very easy. Walk into a pub, introduce yourself. Hey, I'm American, and you've made about 10 friends just by saying that.
It's good to know that I wouldn't have made 10 enemies. I'm always a little bit iffy on when I go to other countries, you know, how I'm going to be received. I've only been to a few different places, and they've all been, you know, relatively friendly for the most part. But that being said, you know, Dan has a question that he may or may not ask you about maybe not you necessarily because you've been here for a while, but the people that you still, I guess you've answered it really. He wants to know, you know, by and large with our international guests, he likes to ask what your experiences are, what your beliefs are as far as Americans are concerned. And it's good to know that the Irish people tend to still have a positive view of us, at least enough to,
no, the positivity is huge. Like the Irish love America. It's always been, I guess it's the land of opportunity. It's always has been, you know, as much as we're kind of at the front row of the show most of the time, when you think about it, because, you know, everything that you got to look at it this way. If America sneezes, the world catches a cold. It's kind of how it works. just because you guys are a superpower, you kind of dictate the tone of the party at the end of the day. So we definitely respect everything that goes on here, but you know, there's always the, you know, throughout the years, you know, all the different presidents and you kind of do really well at making fun of yourselves sometimes, but we still love the American culture. We love visiting. There's just so much to America. Everyone tells me, my God, America doesn't have any history. It's so not true. So not true. Every time I have this similar conversation, all I can think of is that Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot, where I think Mel Gibson just hates the English or something, because in two of his biggest movies, he's just slaughtering English people. But to be honest, the real history is that, you know, they were offering land to English over here when they didn't have a right to. So then you have a lot of English history, and a lot of stuff is kind of scattered around the country. So you see a lot of history just from that. But when people say history, I think a lot of the time they're kind of they're misinterpreting what history means. It's more culture, more of that. Because when I go into a building that, you know, Mark Twain was in, or stuff that just kind of is the history of your nation, not necessarily a castle or a Viking, it has a lot of depth to it. So I think people just need to get out more and maybe read a book or two. History is history. People have a lot of respect for it because it's where we came from. It's kind of it's what makes us who we are, which why I laugh so hard when you look at Disney Plus movies now and they have a little disclaimer and they're warning you that they don't necessarily support the history. You have to just get behind what's happened. Yes, things have changed. Yes, attitudes have changed and views have changed. But you know what? We came from where we came from. Stop denying our history and our culture and just run with it, you know?
Yep. It's there for a reason. It's there to learn from, so we don't do it again in the future. I mean, the history of the South, that's not right up there, but it's up there. And that, you know, we need to learn. We need to learn not to do that again. And thank God it hasn't happened since. But, you know, we have these people, not to get too into it, but tearing down monuments. It's like, no, we need to, that's there for a reason. Like, leave it alone.
Yeah. We put lifeboats on massive ships because the Titanic sunk. We learned from our mistakes. And we made a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes. So if you're not willing to learn from your mistakes and acknowledge that they existed, then, you know, what are we doing? I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah. You know, we're all dads here. It's like you learn hot and cold from burning your hand.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm trying to bring it full circle because
yeah.
we're going off on a war tangent, but it's
That's
like,
actually starting to sound like one of our regular episodes. We just go off on some crazy tangents.
yeah, but like it's the truth, you learn from hot and cold by burning your hand, and that's just how it is. It's like today, Rory was out the back helping grandma just do some gardening, and he has the hammer, and yeah, it was an accident, but he hit his finger, and he learned not to do that again. It's sore, and he's got a sore finger, but hey, that's life, dude. You learn from your mistakes. He won't do that again.
Yeah. Well, bringing it back to dads, I have a question. What is the best piece of advice that somebody gave you, either when you found out you were having children or a child, or right after they were brought into the world?
I don't think I ever, that's one thing I didn't ever get from anybody, is advice about being a parent. Cause honestly, I don't do well with advice with that kind of stuff. I'll be honest. I was so enamored by, we've all done this. You get handed your baby, and you're just like, I don't know if you can curse on this.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. Shit gets real. You know what I mean? You're just kind of like, okay, so everything that I knew now is out the window, and oxygen that I need is no longer necessary. You forget to feed yourself. Sleep is just, what is sleep? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
Like you deprioritize yourself. So, I mean, the advice I have is just everybody. So for me, I was very lucky. I have amazing parents. I mean, every parents have flaws, and my parents were certainly not perfect, but I was loved very much by my parents, and that's kind of it for me. Like, as long as they don't like get hurt or whatever, as long as they're happy, my whole thing is just love is what is the center of everything. You don't have to have a mansion. You don't have to have 1,000,001 toys from the most current franchise out there. If you're present as a parent, you're doing well, because they just need to feel your love. That's it. For me, my biggest pet peeve is the deadbeat dads that don't stand up and be counted. Because
preach,
dude, like, I have so many friends, really close friends of mine, that are going through this right now, where dads are just not stepping up to the plate. And it's that is the difference. If my advice is to anybody who is a dad, just be there. That's it. Be there.
You answered two questions, because I had what you would give someone. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was great. Seamless.
Well, it's something I'm pretty passionate about, and why actually I wanted to be on here, because you guys are cool. I've listened to a bunch of your podcasts, and one of the things that resonates the most is that you guys have the same kind of belief system that I have. It's such a big deal being present for your kids. Like, it is such a big deal. If you're not present for your kids, you're filling the world with assholes, and we have enough of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do.
We got enough assholes in the world. We don't need to do any more. Like, seriously.
And speaking to your parents aren't perfect, on my end, I was just a little bit of history on me. My parents split early on. I was young, and my dad moved actually where I live now. That's really the main reason I'm here. He left when I was 11. So that was like my coming into my formative years, and where I really needed a strong father figure in my life. And the ones, not to diss my mom, but she's not perfect either. But the one she brought in was not the right guy. But even though my dad, he moved 1,000 miles away, which sucked for me, and it sucked for him, because we were close, and we still are to this day. I live probably 5 miles from him now. He always made sure, like, we called every week. I think it was Sunday evening. We would always talk on the phone. Every time he would come home to visit, he would always make plans with my mom to, like, hey, I want him for a week or even just a day. And he would always make a point to see me and to call me and to check on me. And, he wasn't there physically, but he was always there. He's like, hey, if you ever need me, you have my number, call me. He wasn't the deadbeat, but he tried to do the best he could with where he was. And, that's something that I took from him. No matter what your situation is, you got to be there for your kid.
100%.
They didn't ask to be brought here. You made that choice to bring them here. So you got to be there for him no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, he's definitely not a deadbeat, because
No.
anyone that can maintain that kind of commitment thousands of miles away is major respect for them. But look, life is shit, dude. It throws you it just, there's curveballs coming at you at all times, and you gotta duck and weave and do a bit of Neo from the Matrix move every now and again, and it's really tough. But that's it. Like, for me, I'm a dad now. I'm acknowledging the fact that parents, you're not going to be perfect. There's no way you can be perfect. There's not one thing. Your baby is born as a Rubik's Cube that hasn't been touched, and there is nothing you can do to stop that from just screwing it all up. But what you can do is give them building blocks to be somewhat sane and have a kind of a path that is not so crazy, I suppose. I don't know. You just got to guide them the best way you can. I mean, nobody's perfect. Like, if you telling that story is a testament to your dad. I mean, let's put it that way. A lot of people are not mature enough to actually see the goodness behind some of the things that have happened in their life, but you see that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to the dad this morning in another interview, and we talked about how, as cliche as it sounds, it's up to you to be the model of what a good person is. If you don't give that to your son, to your daughter, then they're not going to know. They're going to look elsewhere for it. And there's enough problems here, already. And it's on us to try to raise good kids. I'm not going to say better kids, because, there've been good kids throughout the ages, and there's good kids next door. There's good kids down the street. I'm just saying, we need to do all that we can. And it's not just about telling them, hey, this is what you do, as opposed to that. You have to live that. You have to show them, with your own actions, that the right way, and to keep them from the wrong way. Like you guys were saying, it's on the dad to be present and to do that. And even if he's not there, to still do what he can to make that impact, that positive influence on his son or daughter.
Right, 100%. And it is a major part of formative psychological stuff that needs to happen in everyone's life. They need some kind of a parenting figure. And let's include everyone in this, because dads come in all forms, and I'm talking about like two parenting figures that can actually support their kids in making good decisions and giving them the preparation they need to navigate this pretty crazy world that we're living in right now. So that's kind of where it is right now. You're 100% correct. It doesn't matter what parent you speak with. The best advice that anyone can give anyone is just give them the love that they deserve and show them what not to do, I suppose. Because it's tough out there. It really is. And lots of Disney. Disney seems to be really good. I don't know if this is coming up in a question or whatever, but good God, Bluey is like in my house all the time. Like,
yep.
I'm walking down the street and literally I'm singing the theme tune, and I'm like, what is going on? I can't get out of my. I'm like, okay, great, but you sit there, and Blippi's the same thing. You put them in front of good
Blippi
content,
too, man. Yes, we are Blippi and Bluey house.
Yeah, dude, it's you got to put them in front of good content. If they're watching good content, you're good. My kid knows the ABCs, knows how to count, knows how to do shit that I didn't know what was what when I was 4, and it's all because of Blippi and Miss Rachel or whatever, and Bluey.
Yeah, my daughter's been on a Miss Rachel kick for weeks now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that we've kind of felt like here lately that Miss Rachel is just not exciting enough for him. Like Blippi, he's got, construction and monster trucks, and like Jack's favorite word, Jack's my son's name is Jackson. I call him Jack. His favorite word right now is either fire truck or big truck, which means, monster truck. And that's all he wants to see on TV is just Blippi, like doing all kinds of monster truck stuff. Right. So it's really hard for us to put him back in front of Miss Rachel, or there was another one or two others that were just basically like her. I would love to give them a shout out to our massive listenership, but I'm sorry, ladies, I just don't remember your names.
But Blippi is huge, dude. Like he started from, I'm like, I watch it and it's like, okay, are you on drugs or something? Like it has a vibe of Pee Wee Herman to it, and it's just like,
yes, it does.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
I swear, I feel like
when
that's
I first watched it, that's what I was thinking. But I like both me and my wife were kind of going, is this okay to watch? Like, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it's incredible. He's sold the rights and everything. He's done tons and tons and tons of money with Moon. I think it's Moonbug or whatever the distribution company is. They now have Mika. They have Blippi. They have the Brazilian Portuguese equivalent. They're going multinational with it. I mean, obviously, kids need this stuff. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of my favorite influencers of all time, says if you're telling your kids to get off technology and pulling them away from streaming devices and just trying to keep them away from what essentially is prevalent in the world today, what world do you think they're growing up in? You know, so let's call a spade, guys. I understand 100%. When my kid is on the Xbox or on the iPad too much, he is an asshole. Oh my gosh. But if you monitor that and you have the right kind of, be a parent, Jesus, this is what we're talking about, isn't it? Like if you, in small quantities, it's not that bad. Like let them learn, let them soak that in, let them get the right stuff, the good content, the ABC mouse, whatever app you got going, just let it happen. Your kids are going to learn. And do you want them to learn the stupid shit that's on the TV, on terrestrial TV, or do you want them to get what you can out of Blippi? And to be honest, I never thought I'd hear myself say this. If you asked me this a few years ago, I probably would have said no, but Blippi's kind of it. Like he kind of does the right thing. He's really crazy, and I'm pretty sure my kid has learned a lot of his dance moves from him. But yeah, hey, let's call a spade a spade. Blippi is it.
I love me some Blippi. That man is a genius, and he's so physically talented. Like he's always moving. He's like in great shape.
And they got an actor that's exactly like him. How did they do that?
I don't know.
They have a dude that literally does exactly the same. So he's going on tour. He's got like cartoons. He's got this Amazon show with Mika. Like this guy is just, I'm like, what have I done with my life that I have not come up with this beforehand? It's crazy.
He's got way more energy than I could ever have. I saw him in it. He did this. I'm getting off topic again, but he went to this like firehouse, and he did every single exercise that they had in the little gym that the firehouse had. And he was clearly like not having.
I remember that episode. Yeah, I've seen that episode. I've seen pretty much every episode.
We watch, I feel like we're missing some episodes because we just seem to watch the same ones again and again and again. But anyways, I won't say we got off track because this is just what we do. This is like a regular episode, really. So this is just like in line with the normal sort of thing.
I think in one of our practice episodes, the first 4 that are shitty audio, I think I called us a lazy river as a show. So just sit back and flow with it.
Dude, this is the best kind of podcast there is. And for listeners who are listening right now, they know I'm not lying, because the unscripted stuff is where it's at. That's why I do. That's why the podcast I make is the same thing. It's, it's authentic. It's people having a conversation about real topics. It's, okay, there's a little guideline. I'm sure you got a bunch of questions or whatever, but it leads into the real conversations. And that's, hey, lazy river or not, like I respect both of you guys. It's a great podcast. So keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate that. We are coming down to, I don't really know. Did we decide whether it keeps recording when the timer stops?
Yeah, we tried that last time we had a night episode or night interview.
Right, so there's just like a couple things that I wanted to get to real quickly before we give you the floor to talk about whatever that you may have not yet spoken on, or anything that you wanted to give more input on. In particular, wanted to hear you talk a little bit more about your podcast. But be that as it may, I actually had quite a few questions, that I could have went to, but they're just fillers and just things that kind of give us, a better idea of who you are. And Dan probably knows already where I'm going with this, but there's one question that I've tried to develop that I could just feel comfortable asking any dad that we talk to. And the one I'm about to ask you is not that question. The dad today, I did not feel comfortable asking him that, but I feel like at the very least, you're just going to say no and we'll move on. So that's totally fine.
Go ahead.
One of my personal, I guess, interests, and take that with a grain of salt, because I'm not going to be ever watch, like, you're not going to catch me watching in any horror movies, really. If I'm watching a horror movie, it's something that I saw as a child, like Jaws or Nightmare on Elm Street or something along those lines. The new stuff, it's just either too gory or too violent or too scary, whatever the case may be. But with that being said, do you personally have any cool paranormal stories that you're willing to share with us, with whether it be something to do with aliens, something to do with ghosts, something to do with, anything in between? Is there anything that you've experienced between your travels from Ireland to Washington to everywhere in between that you would consider to be touching the other realm, so to speak?
Honestly, I'm pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm a big scaredy cat. Like, I suppose the nearest thing that I have to that is when I was 20, I almost died from meningitis, and I was in a coma for I'd say it was almost 4 or 5 days, and I'm 100% convinced that I saw my gran, both of them actually. So I've had paranormal investigators on my show, and I can tell you right now, I'm a 1,000,000% believer in all that stuff. And it scares the living shit out of me, I'll be honest, especially when you hear paranormal investigators talking about stuff that is dark and fucking weird, and the entities in the room and voices saying get out. I'm like, okay, can we just back this shit up? Like, there's some serious stuff out there. And am I saying that you need to live in fear? Hell no, of course not. Most paranormal stuff, from just speaking with the guys that I've had on, they're not going to be concerned with you. They're just going about their weird existence, and it's just the way it is. But there are really shitty, just like people, I guess. There's really shitty ghosts out there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good way to put it.
One of my guests, she's from Ghost Biker Stories. God, you know what? I'm the worst at remembering shit like that. But yeah, she's one of the best people. I've had 2 great paranormal investigators on the show, and they've just become really good friends of mine. They've actually bought there's an old jail, and they've bought like a bunch of other property that's been haunted, and they're kind of doing historical tours during the day for schools, and then at nighttime they're scaring the shit out of you. Oh boy. Yeah, no, one of the stories was she was staying in this house. Now, bear in mind, she's been told that there's demonic presence in the house. You've lost me at that point. You know what I mean? It's like, if someone goes, hey, there's a ghost in there, and at nighttime it literally slams doors and screams at you, get out. Like, yeah, you're good. Cool. All right. That's all I needed. I'll just take your word for it and get the fuck out of here. But she literally had to seek like religious help, because she felt like she was almost possessed. She went through a bunch of stuff that was just so creepy. Yeah, I'll have to shoot you some links, because they do like video
episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%. And just as she's telling me the story, so we don't record video, kind of like you guys. We don't record video or post a video. But while we're having this conversation, like the lights go out in our house, and I'm like, it's like, I'm just sitting there going, shit, okay, that just, no, like, no, she's talking about all this demonic shit, and the lights flicker behind her. Turns out it was a car, but like, to me, I'm going, the setting was just perfect. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh shit, here we go. But yeah, look, it's they're amazing. The Soul Sisters, and then Ghost Bikers. They're just, oh my gosh, the people that do this work are crazy. They're like, you know those storm chasers. They're the same kind of thing, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what's in after this shit? Like, just look at the weather, man. That's all you need to know. Just stay indoors. Don't fucking do anything stupid. And you're hopping in a car and chasing after a tornado. Like, come on, it's the same idea. If you say to me there's a demon in the house, you will never, ever, ever see me in that fucking house. It's that simple. So yeah, it's not really an experience, but yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I kind of went off on one there.
You gave me a cool story. That was good enough.
All right, cool.
Do you have anything, Dan?
No. Oh, well, yeah, one more thing. Kind of on the lines of the tourist in Ireland thing. If we were ever to come visit you, what's the one thing in Washington we should go do?
The one thing in Washington, God, there's really fuck all in Washington. Sorry, Washington listeners. There really is a lot to do in Washington as far as like, I mean, if you're not used to having open spaces and stuff, for me, Washington it's kind of like Ireland. It's just green. It's just got that great feel to it. And I haven't been everywhere in the US. So like people come out to me and say, yeah, that's kind of like over here. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So I'm in the most ununique place in the country. Yeah. For me, Washington is just, I suppose I'm in Vancouver, Washington. So it's more Portland than Washington, if you know what I mean. Like it's Portland, Vancouver. It's kind of Oregon more than Washington, if I'm being honest, because I cross the bridge every day going to work. Oregon, I would tell you that just the wineries, there's so much like Multnomah Falls. There's just a bunch of really picturesque places you can go. That's kind of where I would go. But yeah, I had the same struggle when I had my parents over. I was like, shit, what do we do? Yeah, there's a mountain over there. Let's go up there. That's cool. Mount Hood is pretty amazing. Everyone that comes here just loves Portland for the people. It's kind of where it is right now. But I would just go hang out, find a few good Irish pubs. There's a really good Scottish pub over in Oregon City in Portland, and I would take you there and have the best Guinness I've had in America. That's what I would do with you.
Nice.
And then you just want to go buy a ticket to Ireland, because I know that you already want to do that anyway. So I'm just basically feeding the feeding the addiction even more.
That actually brings one more quick question to mind, and there's nothing really behind this necessarily, other than I guess closeness. But is there any kind of rivalry between Scotland and Ireland?
No, not really. If you've seen the movie Braveheart, it's kind of like that. So the Scottish and the Irish hate the English. It's always been that thing. I mean, it's lessened up a little bit, but you know, the history's there. Like, I have friends that are just, one of my good friends has the English accent, the whole thing, and he's living in Ireland, and he will tell you straight up that they hate the English. It's that simple. My dad was a taxi driver, and he's got a full-on English accent, and yeah, he would tell you the same thing. There's people everywhere that kind of have their own, that attach themselves to history that really isn't theirs. Well, yeah, I hate the English. They did all this. Well, where were you? You weren't even born. What the fuck? Yeah, but yeah, there is a little bit of that, but no Scottish or Irish rivalry at all. It literally is. We're kind of on the same page when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Interesting. God, I forgot. It was you, Dan, that was with me when we were talking to the guy from Sweden.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We talked to this gentleman from Sweden, and he was telling us about how, his relationship to the countries nearby, like Denmark and stuff like that. And there is a bit of a rivalry sort of with Denmark. So I didn't know if there was if it was a closeness thing, and maybe you guys.
I love Scandinavian countries, dude. They're the best, and the reason I love them the most is because they're so fucking laid back. It's not even funny. Like, they are so relaxed about pretty much everything. And on top of that, they're Viking countries. So growing up as a kid, and then also as a teenager, and in my 20s, let's just say the Vikings didn't bring back any ugly ones, and they have really good women over there. So yeah. So I've always enjoyed Scandinavian countries. They're great. They're great fun. Now I enjoy them even more because that whole Russian thing is going on, and they're basically just flipping them off, going, "Hey, we're joining NATO." What was that? You're going to attack us? Go on. It's like, I dare you. You're already losing against like the smallest fucking opponent you ever had. So let's crack on with that one.
There must be some sort of like inborn confidence that's down from the ages.
Yeah, I totally believe it. They were kind of on the fence, but they've just kind of seen how the world has gone. Dude, you're fighting for nothing. Like, nobody supports your cause. There's like maybe China, but like even now they're going, dude, what are you doing? It's like that drunk friend at a bar that's just picking a fight with this one guy, and you're like, come on, dude, let's go. No, you called me this name. I want this stool. It's like, it's over. Just walk away.
We could, and I would almost like to get into that sort of conversation just because you have a bit of an international, opinion, a bit of a flavor from afar that would give good input on that. But I'm not going to go that route. What I do want to hear about is more of what you've got going on as far as at least the podcast, the Unscripted Perspective. You said a little bit about it here and there. I've got a feel for what I think it is, but why don't you tell us exactly what you got going on there?
So the Unscripted Perspective is, so I started it like pre-COVID, well, just around COVID, I would say, because I got bored. I was just, I've been like DJing, I've been doing other stuff throughout my career and life, and I really love creating. So podcasting, much like yourself, it's addictive. So I got into it really quickly. I started it because I just love changing people's perspective on certain things. So the unscripted part was we just have chats. It's like having a beer or a monster with a bunch of friends and just chatting. I've had such good luck. Like, I met a woman named Eileen Shapiro. She is a publicist for damn near everyone that's ever been on the East Coast. And afar, like she's got like, I had the publicist for Michael Jackson, Howard Bloom on, and like I've had so many great guests. I've had life coaches, I've had animal Reiki experts, I've had paranormal investigators, I've had astrophysicists, physicists. I can say it. I promise. I love having interesting conversations with people. I've had musicians. I just had two great artists that are up and coming, that the episodes will be coming out soon, and just connecting with great people. I mean, this is why I wanted to come on here. I love connecting with people. It's a great feeling. It's really cool just meeting people from all over the globe. I've had podcasts with people in India, Tokyo, you name it, Australia. I say no to nobody, generally speaking, depending on what their expertise is, but it's always interesting hearing from different people. So the Unscripted Perspective really is that. I have interesting people. I never have anyone. It's never a publicity stunt. I don't have anyone I wouldn't have a chat with in a bar, basically. So they're all interesting in some form. And we just sit down, have a conversation, learn about what they do. Obviously, it's geared toward them getting some kind of positive impact to their careers from it. So we do talk about them, but it goes off just kind of like what we did, like a lazy river. We're kind of talking about everything. So it's enjoyable. It's about an hour long most of the time. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer, depending on the guest, because you just no more than this. You just get into conversations and they're in depth, they're enjoyable, and you just keep going. So that's pretty much that podcast for me. I love it, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon because there's plenty more people to speak with. So.
Right on. That's actually really cool. I love that aspect of podcasting where, like you said, you're learning from at least something from so many different people, and people that you would never have come into contact with. The people that, while they may be even experts in their field, are still people that you would never have a reason to talk to,
Right.
Except like you have this podcast and you're trying to get their message out, or you're trying to learn from them in some way.
Right. I mean, look at this. I mean, I would never have spoken to you two dudes if it wasn't for podcasting. And, not to be corny and whatever, but like, you guys are cool dudes. So I'm actually really happy to have spoken to you guys and met you guys. We were chatting kind of in text message before hitting record, and I've gone to blows with people on Facebook over this dude. So like it's
I actually didn't tell Dan that story.
Yeah, it's really cool connecting with people, like I said, and when you're meeting people that are genuinely just trying to make a positive impact on the world, it's even better. So kudos to you two guys. You're doing pretty much the same kind of work I'm doing in a different way, and I love connecting with that. So that's really cool.
Well, I appreciate that.
We appreciate that, man.
The kind words, and
I love Dan's gamer headset. That's
I have to tell you that story someday, Dan. That guy's crazy.
Right on.
I was tempted whether or not to like put this stranger whose name I can barely even remember on blast on my small podcast, but it wasn't even worth it. So I'll just tell you, like, the rest of it off of camera one day or whenever you want to hear it.
Corey's got grace. That's what it's all about. Corey's got grace. He's not going to blast anyone that doesn't deserve it. We actually, just to touch on that, Facebook is a great way to connect, but it's also a great way for people to vent and throw misdirected anger around the world. And yeah, poor Corey was just a victim of that. Somebody misinterpreted his invite to be on a podcast and just put him on blast without even finding more about Corey. So I just went to blows with a dude I'd never met before and made him look like a chump. And I'm glad I did, because Corey is far from whatever he thought he was. So I was right. He was wrong. Nah.
Nice. Over here. I think I might have mentioned in the message, I do not release these as full videos because I'm just terrible at like a full performance, so to speak. But I do chop them up into clips and post them on Reels and such. And I will be sure to tag you or at you or whatever the case may be on Facebook.
Cool.
And I might have to take that one just there and put that one up just to make myself feel better. That was sweet. That made me smile. Nice. One more thing though that did come up. You've been doing this obviously for a while. You've been talking to, almost certainly far more people than us. We, as I mentioned in the, and maybe this is not something that everybody cares about, but I care about it. So fuck them. But every day that we have an interview, me and Dan both are like, like an hour or 2 hours before, our stomachs start to tighten up. We like, I gotta pee, I gotta poop. Like, I'm so nervous, I'm so stressed. And I tell myself, one, there's no reason to feel that way. But also, two, it's okay. You can feel that way. That's fine. But did you ever have that problem, and how did you get over it?
Yeah, nerves for me in the beginning were because I wanted the guest to get the best out of the experience. It wasn't about me. I don't give a shit about me. It is what it is. My nerves were always about the experience, whether the technology was going to fail, whether the internet was going to just explode. But now, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, these are just people at the end of the day. I've had so many podcasts where I've literally last night, my guest couldn't get the link to work. So I had to do a bit of remote IT on her laptop to figure out how to get it going. The couple of nights before, I don't know if you guys have Comcast where you are, but Comcast decided to just redo some weird shit to my router and had to reset it. So mid podcast, I had to stop the whole thing and redo it. And it lost everything that we recorded, and I had to start again. So,
and you just started again?
Just started again. Because here's the thing: if you're gonna do it right. That's my thing. If it crashes, it crashes. Do it again. If stuff happens, stuff happens. It's all good. The nerves, I think you're talking about, are just meeting people for the first time, kind of not knowing if they're going to be crazy or not. I don't care anymore, because you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to do a recording. You get to choose if it goes out or not.
I tell myself that same thing. Like, it's even up to me if anybody else hears it.
Yeah. If it's a bunch of shit, if somebody doesn't say anything you want to hear or anyone else wants to hear, then delete and move on. Like, it's kind of like, if that guy actually did get on the show and you guys realize he was a fucking insane dude, then you know what? Delete and move on.
Yeah.
That's kind of me. I'll be honest. I'm so laid back now. My routine is, so we record right after the kids go to bed, but right before they go to bed, I'm setting it up. And literally 5 minutes before we even hit record, I'm still chewing on whatever I want to chew on. I haven't even cracked open my Monster that I'm going to be drinking for the show. I'm just relaxed, because at the end of the day, if you're not comfortable and you're not relaxed, show is all about you. At the end of the day, you're the driver. You wouldn't get in a car after drinking a bunch of alcohol and being misguided. So don't hop on a podcast and do the same thing. Just be relaxed. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's just a podcast at the end of the day. And you guys are too good at what you're doing to fucking worry about that shit. That's not worth it.
I appreciate you saying that. And every word that you did say, is a little bit more help for me in my mental state. And I just,
you got Iron Maiden in the background, dude. What are you worried about? Like, seriously?
I've also got like Guns N' Roses right here behind me.
Yeah, I see that right by your
I will
shoulder.
have to listen to those sometimes before we start recording,
Yeah,
just to get
it's
myself
worth
on
it.
track.
What calms you down in that kind of instance for you?
Just starting, it's terrible until you or whoever comes on, and then as soon as we start talking, I kind of get a little more comfortable. I get them to give me an introduction, which gives me talking points that I can then go off of. Because, like you said, my concern isn't for me. My concern isn't but Dan's gonna have a booger or anything like that. My concern is that, like, I want the guest to have a good time. I want the guest like it's a win if the guest has a good time, and if the guest says I want to come back, then that's like stellar. That's even better.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly worried that there will be something that, be it the wrong saying the wrong thing, or like you were saying, the internet goes crazy, or the power goes out or something like that. Because at that point you were like, yeah, just start over. But with me, I'm gonna be like, well, fuck, like do I start over? What do I do? Do these people, like, these people have lives?
It's going to happen, bro. It's going to happen. And you just have to be at one with your whole way of thinking and just either hit record again or reschedule, whatever works for you. At the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's like you could be the best driver in the world, but you're going to have an accident in the car at one point. Like, it's going to happen. If someone hits you or you hit them, it's going to happen. It's just the people are fucking crazy, and you could be the best driver in the world, but that just is the way it is. For me, like I'm about to start doing live recordings. So his face, he's like, no. Oh shit, man, that's not gonna happen. So for me,
one
again,
day, maybe.
Yeah, but it's about producing content. The next level is live for me. It's going to be stressful. I know it is. But for me, like, I had the astrophysicist on, and I know everything that was, he does stuff that the episode is out. It's awesome. The guy is from London. He's like studying extraterrestrial activity. He's looking for life on other planets. It's just absolutely incredible. The guy is so smart. He makes, like, I'm just like a 4-year-old to him, like, as far as intellectual content, and he is just so good at what he does. So when I got off, I literally was like, man, we could have gone for 4 hours and it would have been still a great podcast. So I said, because I stop recording, but we still stay on air and we still start chatting afterwards, because I love connecting with them outside of that. And I just said, hey, do you want to do a live? Like, because we can totally set that up. I think it'd be a great idea. And for those who are actually wanting to do podcasts, this is something that I want to address. I don't pay for anything. I'm not paying for shit. Like, people I don't pay for
people talking about, like, oh, my host, and what's a good host? Like, I don't want to pay a lot. I don't pay fucking shit. Like, I just post my stuff for free.
I use it used to be Anchor, now it's Podcaster, Spotify Podcaster, or whatever it's called. They rebranded, and then I use Zencaster. I have StreamYard. I basically attack all the freebies out there and use them to their extent. And that's it. I mean, you don't have to be this amazing whiz kid to do that. So, I mean, not diluting us, obviously, because we work pretty hard at our podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science. And guys, I can't say this enough. Like, this has been awesome. Like, I love talking to people, and you guys are there's no reason for you ever to be sitting on the other side going, shit, we're about to get a guy. He's Irish. What the fuck are we going to talk about?
There was a little bit of that. Oh, it was at one point. It was like, well, I know he's Irish, but I don't know what to talk about other than that.
Yeah. But Corey, like, Dan's got a fucking gamer headset on. You couldn't be any more. You couldn't be any more relaxed when it comes to doing this podcast. You're good, dude. You're so good. Don't even worry
that
about
or earbuds.
It's all good, man, and it sounds good too. So I'm
right. That's really all that matters. I mean, I hear and you hear him. That's all we care about.
Right. It's not a low end one. It's a middle of the road headset, so it should be okay.
Right. That's it.
Right on. Well, that was good. That was once again, that went longer than I expected, but you were once again much cooler than I could have hoped for. So thank you for coming on.
Appreciate
and giving
that.
us some great content. We had one of our slogans. We have a bunch that we basically said once and then never said again. But one of them is that we learn a little and laugh a lot, and we definitely laughed. So hopefully somebody learned something too.
Hey, hey, anytime you want me back, I am available and ready to go. Obviously, my parameters as far as being a parent as well. Hashtag dad life. But yeah, guys, like kudos to you guys. You're doing a great job at the podcasting. It's 80% of podcasts fail or quit within the first 6 months. So if you've gone past 6 months, you're good. Just keep going.
We're about right at 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we're close.
Yeah,
so don't quit, dude.
Quit, but I'll just change the show to You're Only Dad and then just keep it going. It's like you said, it's like even with the nausea and the stress, it's addicting. Like just posting a reel on TikTok, it's like I get a fix from that because
I'm shit at social media. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm not good at is social media. I've literally enlisted help from so many people to get this right because my followers are kind of all over the place. My listenership is great, but the follower side of it is just, yeah, I really need to get better at Instagram and that shit. My wife is amazing at it, but she just couldn't give two shits about doing any of that for me. So she's got her own Instagram stuff and TikTok and all that stuff. Yeah, no, I'm so awful with that. So maybe that's what is your niche that that is the key to your success is just killing that social media.
I do post. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts, and I do get decent views for somebody that no one knows and that doesn't have any followers really. I think that even the show only has like last count we had about 27 listeners or something like that. Like you can go on, Spotify for podcasters, and find out, how many followers you have on there, and then I use Acast, and that tells me how many followers I have from like other places. So all together, we're growing slowly, and if we were growing faster, I wouldn't do the social media at all because, like you, it's not really my thing, and I don't have any followers. Everybody that like talks to me just does it on Facebook. Do you get this is going to take us off into another tangent. I swear I'll let you go after this, but well, hey everybody. Guess that Philip was so great we're going to have to turn this into a two-parter. I just wanted to drop you a quick message so you guys' brain didn't explode when you were wondering why we stopped off in the middle of a sentence. I guess I'll see you again next week. Have fun until then, and remember, no one's half the battle.
Gonna suck on occasion.
Yeah, well said.